Okay, year 13, this particular lesson is about how to make a report, okay? And it has to be a complex report and it has to cover the components that I'm going to describe now and demonstrate for you to create, okay? So, first thing is, a report is an output from the system, okay? It's something you can view on the screen, but also would be printed out by a manager to read the information. What we're looking at for these types of reports is management information, so things like customer purchase history, sales history per product, customer order history, orders in the last month, that sort of thing, okay? You only need to do one, and you'd have to decide how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do an analysis of all product sales, okay, for the entire database. First thing is the components that you need. The report has to have original report headers and footers, not the default settings. So when we make the report now, you'll notice that I'm going to delete everything out of the headers and footers because that stuff's been made by the software and they don't like that. Okay, so header and footer. So things like in the header you can put the company logo, the names, etc. In the bottom you can add the date back in. You could put the date it was printed on. You could put the page number, but you have to write it yourself. You can't use, and they know what Access produces. Okay, so don't leave the default settings there or they will deduct marks. The second part is the data that you have to have has to have some kind of sorting and grouping. Okay, now grouping is done by a field. So what we're talking here is I'm going to group the data, I'm going to chunk the data in the report into each stock number. Okay, so for example, it'll have stock number 1 underneath the header, and then it'll have a list of all the sales for stock number 1 as you go down. Okay, and I'm going to sort those in most recent to oldest. You could group data by customer number. It's usually done on key fields, so within this system, customer number and stock number is the best one to use for that. And then it's got to have some kind of calculation that you write. Okay, so I'm going to count up all the sales for certain stock items so we know how often it's been sold. Okay, so we're going to go nip across now to Access and have a look at making that. So those are the rules for making it and how you're going to go about doing that. So back into Access, you got all your objects and things here. I'm using Access 2016, so it's going to look slightly different to the one in school. Up in here, we got the report stuff. We're going to go to Report Wizard. Remember I said I'm going to do sales of stock. So where are sales of stock? Well, they're in this table here, your order stock. Order number, stock ID, and the quantity. Okay? I don't need the order number. I'm not looking at orders. I want to know the stock items that have been sold and the quantities of them. To go along with that, I want the information about the stock, so I'm going to the stock table. I've already got the stock ID from the first table. I don't want it again, it causes confusion. I want the name, I want the category. I mean, you could group by category. Yeah, different product categories, you know, when what you sold, okay, and you could look at what sells well in categories. That's what grouping means. I'm going to take the cost price and the sale price as well. So I can do some calculations on those. Okay, so then I'm going to nip across to next. One point to note I should have mentioned beforehand, you need to show the construction of this report. So take screenshots. This is the first one. So now you should be pausing this video, pushing print screen and pasting it into the report implementation section. If you don't do this, the entire work you do will not count. Okay, please listen to me. Don't be lazy. Print screen. Take it across, okay, at this point. So pause and then come back. Next, print screen. Pause, come back. Okay, we don't need to do anything on this one. Now we're going to add some grouping. So this is important for the implementation because it's going to show your grouping. Okay, so let's go to, I'm going to group it by stock ID. You could group it by product category if you wanted to. But I'm going to do it by stock ID. Here, I just put this little button up in here. If you go to Options, just leave that blank, okay, don't use the options. Print screen that, pause it, come back to this part. Okay, remember we wanted some sorting, so I'm going to do that here, okay, saves a little bit of time and a little bit of energy. I'm going to sort it based on, oh gosh, I was going to do date sold, and I haven't brought that across, unfortunately. Okay, I haven't brought that across, so what I'm going to do is, no panic, I'm going to go back here to back. Where is order date? Well, it's in here. Let's pop him in there. Should all link up. The way it all works is it should all link up. Need to pop my grouping level back on. Okay, there you go. Got my grouping level back on. And now I can sort it, order date, and I want it to be descending. I want the newest order first. Okay, so you take a print screen of this. Okay, that you don't have to do that. It's just that my plan in my brain was to sort it by that. So that's why I've done that. Now you can add some summary options on here. It's quite handy, this is, because it does the calculation for you. I'm going to add up all the quantities sold for that stock number. How many of them have I done in its entirety? I'm going to click OK. From there, print screen of that. Next. Different things. If you've got a lot of fields, it's sometimes worth going landscape because it's easier to manage. And then you've got block and outline. There are different ways. I'm just going to leave it on the default there. I haven't got a lot, so I'm going to leave it on portrait. Adjust the field width so they fit up. In theory, it tries to do that. It never works out quite that way. And I'm going to call it my stock sales history, because that's what it is. That's what this is doing here. And print screen, put that implementation, and I've got this. Now take a screenshot of it in its beginnings, and then we're going to take a screenshot of it at how it ends up. Okay. Okay, so this is how it's how it begins. Okay, so let's have a little study of this in Design View. Okay, and have a look at the different sections. If you've done everything I've said, okay, you should have a report header, a page header, a stock ID grouping header. That's the grouping. There's the evidence of the grouping. A detail section. The detail section is where all the data gets placed. Okay, to summarize things. A stock ID footer. This is the place for the calculation. Okay, which is here, and page footer there. Okay, and a report footer here. Now you need to start to get rid of the stuff the Wizard's done. So this big long formula here, they know it's been made by Wizard. You won't get credit for it. In fact, you get penalized. So you delete that out. Anything in the page footer, delete those there. Okay. The rest of it can stay for the time being. Okay. We don't need to do page footers and report footers. They like report footers the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag that up there, and we're going to ignore the page footer for the time being. Okay. Now, what we need to do is what we're looking to do is group information. Okay. Now we're grouping by the stock information. So anything that's related, to the stock that you only want to display once, okay, goes into the stock ID header. So at the moment we've got the stock ID here, and his label is up in there. So I'm going to bring that label into here, there, and I'm also going to put the name in the header section there. Okay, pop that into there. Just take a little bit of time. I don't want to spend too long because this program only lets me do 15-minute videos before it cuts out. So we got that there. I'm not going to try and make this really tidy. Next thing I'm going to go, and I'm also going to pop the product category in there. Sorry, because that belongs to it as well to a certain extent. Pop that in there. Okay, and now I've got the order date here, which is fine. The quantity that was bought there, and the two prices here and here. And I'm going to pop the headings above them, but I'm going to put that, you're going to put them above here. So there, here, and in here. Let's go and have a little look what's going on now. So we go to the view in the top left. So you can see, right, the hashtags because there's not enough space in the field. So at the moment we've got stock ID 1, which is this Champions League football, the product category footballs, and those are the different sales and when they happen. So I'm just going to tidy it up just a little bit so you can see. So I'm right clicking, going back to design view. I'm going to drag them together. I'm going to shift, I'm going to wider there. I want product name wider. Oh, that's not wider, that's across. I'll pop it back. And there, so we can see everything. And this all works out. I'm going to line everything up as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all that there, and I'm going to go up into format up here, and I'm going to left align for the time being, just to make it slightly easier. Okay, and it says some in there. The label's not very good, so I'm going to put total sold there. Okay, so I'm going to go on to this, back onto design view there and view. So we've got stock ID 1, the Champions League ball sold on those dates. And again, we're a little bit offline with these. We'll have to sort them out when they tidy up. You can see that the date is sorted in recent, 6th of the 10th. Remember I did that? Here, total sold 6. And then it jumps into the next product there. Okay, so you can do things like you can, if you make that bit wider there, you'll create a separation for the next one, which is a bit neater. You can do things like adding a line that goes across. The line tool up in here, you can pop that across there. I think if you hold down, try to remember Control or hang on. Trying to remember which one it is. I'm pretty sure it's Control or Shift or Alt. It's one of the, I can never quite remember. Let's try Alt and draw a line. No, it's not that. Okay, let's try Control. There you go. Makes it, holding down Control makes the line draw straight. Okay, so you can put a line in between. Actually, none of this working on this one yet. It's Shift. There we go. Okay, so you've got that. I didn't quite get it right. You can fiddle about with that. I'm running out of time. I've got 2.5 minutes. So we've got grouping in here. We've got report header. We've got grouping. I'm going to get rid of the page header. Again, we don't need both. Okay. Now you have to put your own slant on these two footers. Okay. So things that you could do, you could add a date if you wanted to. So something like this, you can go in there and you can write equals date, open bracket, close bracket. Okay, you'd need to change you could put something like printed on in there. It's always a good one that you see on reports. And we go here, and you go right to the end of the report. Okay, the report footer's right at the end. There you go. There's the grand 76 products sold in our database in its entirety, them all added up, printed on. There's lots of other things you could do. This part up here, you can change the name of the report, you can add things to it, you could put a logo in there, all that kind of stuff, a little bit house style, but it does have to be original. Okay, again, you need to line up and tidy all these things up. So, but you've got a grid to snap things to as well on there for you. Okay. And that is how I would obviously tidy this up a bit more to get a report that covers all criteria for this. Original headers, footers, grouped products, it was grouped by stock, it was sorted, which we needed as well there, and it has a calculation. There are other things you could do as well. I'll post a video from other people that show you how to, add and garnish and make these things look better. But trying to get this in this lesson, get this sorted, get this in place, and don't forget, once you've completed it, to take a screenshot of the final one, and make sure you screenshot it as you went through, because if you're at this stage and you haven't taken any screenshots, you've got to do it all again. You're 13. Okay, thank you very much.